What's good, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Michael. Today I'm going to do something more for myself. Generally I write in a notebook, but I'm going to do a journal entry through video. It's just going to be quicker for me to record than write down, and maybe it'll help someone in the process. As a person, I am very happy. We're told that, like, oh, you shouldn't chase money and fast cars because that's not going to make you happy. That's a complete lie. People are confusing happiness and fulfillment, right? A fast car, a really nice car, a really nice watch, whatever, a nice body, it's going to make you happy. But happiness is an emotion, and therefore it fades and changes over time, right? So once you get that nice car, yeah, you're going to love it, but eventually you're going to lose that love for it. Or it's at least going to diminish if you don't find another reason to love it or remind yourself why you loved it. So people get another car. And you can only get so many new things and better things before you run out of things to upgrade to, right? And I think that's why people are obsessed with their phones. They get the new iPhone every year just to say they have it so they can be happy about it. Not because it's marginally better than the last, but just so they can say they have it. In my journal entry that I made 2 days ago, which is not going up, I talked about, and I apologize that my breathing is all over the place. I just finished working out, but I talked about how happiness doesn't equate to fulfillment, right? I just touched on that. I've helped, I've done some things I'm very proud of in my life. I've helped a blind man see as far as getting to work in the morning. I've stayed up till 2 a.m. recording a video since 9 p.m., right? With a buddy of mine in that bench series, which I'll post up here. Shameless link. But no, I'm very happy. I'm not fulfilled, right? And in my journal entry, I'll link it really quick. But like I said, I'm not sure. But I don't think fulfillment is something you can get. I didn't think at the time that you could achieve fulfillment. I thought fulfillment was just this idea, right? This ideal that, oh, if you're fulfilled, you're happy, but you're happy all the time. But that's not necessarily the case. Because like I said, happiness fades with time. And if you're happy all the time, what do you have happiness to compare to, right? Everything has an equal and opposite. And if you don't have that, then you have nothing to compare it to. So if you don't have sadness to compare happiness to for a reference, happiness doesn't exist. Hopefully that makes sense. What I've recently come to realize, at least in this workout, is that you can achieve fulfillment, but fulfillment is not what I thought it was. And just because I think I know what it is now, doesn't mean I have it, right? Something, okay, I've identified the problem, now I gotta go attack it. Fulfillment is being content. It's knowing the fact that you are exactly where you need to be right now. And as a result of your actions, you are here right now, right? When I first started working out, I was in 8th grade, right before we started lifting in football for 9th grade. And I was very insecure about myself. So since this is a journal entry, I'll tell you guys some stories. I was in gym class, and I always looked forward to gym class because our teacher, Mr. Farrell, very athletic guy. He had, I'm straight. I don't feel like I need to say that, but he has a very nice physique. He's very athletic, right? All the girls and the guys looked up to him as the standard. And I always looked forward to that class because I'm like, damn, I want to be like Mr. Farrell. I was doing preacher curls, right? I was doing preacher curls, and he compliments me. That's happiness, right? I had it right away. But like I said, it fades and changes over time. At the end of that period, right? Classes are on periods, they're on schedules. We're all in the hallway waiting for the bell to ring for the next class. That's how schools are administered in the U.S. And a girl comes up to me, and she says, "Hey, Michael, flex." And I was like, no, I'm not going to flex, right? I'm not secure with myself. I'm not going to flex. So I told her no. And the reason she asked is because we had this guy, a really cool guy, still to this day, Dan, and he flexed his bicep, and it was huge. It still is to this day. And he had been lifting before everyone, and he's a bodybuilder to this day, and everyone was impressed. So you're like, all right, Michael, let's see what you got. And I was like, no. She persisted and persisted and persisted. And finally I said, okay, really quick for a second. She said, okay, for a second. So, I mean, I just went, bam, right? Really quick. And you have to realize that everybody's in these hallways, right? And she's seen as like the popular girl. People are surrounded around her, and they're all looking at me when I do this. And it's probably, I don't know, 5'8", 100 pounds, 90 pounds. That's besides the point. I'll post a picture right here. And she laughs at me. Out loud. Laughs right in front of my face. And she says, like, that I'm bigger than you. I'm stronger than you. She literally said that to my face. And from that day forward, I said, okay, I'm going to do something about it, right? Because the week prior, I had my basketball coach who's talking to my dad. He didn't know I was listening in. I was outside the gymnasium, and he said, Michael's great. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's always in the right spot. But when he gets older, he's going to be bossed around. He's too skinny. He's skin and bones. That word made me cringe. He's skin and bones. So he's never going to be great at basketball. He literally said that to my dad. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do something about this, right? And it wasn't like a switch. Obviously, I was sad right away. But then I decided, I don't know, something just, after the incident with the girl in gym class, there were things that were piling up, and that was like the last straw. And I was like, I've had enough of this, right? So every day I would go home, and I would ask my parents if we could do P90X, right? That was a big thing at the time. And they said, sure, we'll start tomorrow. Come home from school tomorrow. Oh, we're really busy, Michael. We got bills to do. We'll do it tomorrow. This went back for days and days and days. Eventually, we lived in this house still at the time. And my dad, after annoying him so many times, probably for a month or two, he said, okay, I'll show you the basics. You can only work out with me, right? He didn't show me squat or deadlift. We were just doing lat pull down, tricep push downs. We were doing basic bro lifts. You can only lift with me. You're lifting light because I don't want it to stunt your growth, right? That was also a myth at the time. And I started there, started lifting with football, and I progressed from there. But my journey of fitness started from deficiency, right? And I've asked myself a lot to this day, why do I still work out? Is there a reason? I'm content with how strong I am, or at least I say that I am. I'm content with how I look, or at least I say that I am, right? And I contradict myself there because I've also recently realized that I tell myself that everything is all right, right? But I've realized through dreams and stuff that my unconscious and subconscious think otherwise. So although I say that, I don't truly believe that, or at least yet. But my where I'm going with this, my journey started out of deficiency. And everything I've done since that point in my life, I've achieved a great amount, at least in my eyes, that I'm proud of, right? But everything that I've done up to this point, and still to this point, is out of deficiency. And although that has been the main driver for me, that's a path for destruction. And I've realized that because I don't know if people have this. I'm sure they do. It's called, can't even think of what it's called. It's called, like if you do something bad, you know it's bad, right? Okay. It's kind of like that. But like, if I'm eating, let's say like, I don't know, I'm eating something messy and a crumb drops on the floor, I have to pick that crumb up, or else there's like a voice in my head that like gets to me, if that makes any sense. And that's just a small example, right? Because you're like, oh, that doesn't matter. But when you're talking about like every little thing you do in your life, there's this like voice talking to you, trying to like coach you through the moment. And this is not something that I don't know where I got it from, right? And it's not like, I don't know, it's not frightening, but it's always there, right? It might diminish in tone and volume, but there's always like an extra voice there, kind of like I feel like it's keeping me on track. And whether you want to tell me that that's my inner voice or that's God or whatever, it's there, right? That's the reality of it, is it's there. Deficiency. There's two types of motivation. Deficiency is what I've been running out of, or running from, or fueled from, and I've kind of been running from my insecurities ever since I've been a little boy. And I'm going to close with this analogy, because some of you will be like, okay, Michael, I can tell you right now, you're almost 190 pounds, you're 6 foot, you got things going for you. You got a supportive family. You're going to college. You're not struggling to make financial means as far as food or anything else. Like, what do you have to worry about, man? Your life is set. And you have to realize that everybody has struggles. Even the people who you think have it all figured out still struggle. And I'm not saying mine is worse or easier or anything. It's just different, right? Because I've been able to bypass a lot of these extrinsic physical struggles that other people have. But with that, I've had a lot more time of introspection, looking into myself, trying to ask myself deeper questions that I don't think a lot of people get the time to ask themselves because they're so worried about these external things. But here's my analogy, right? There's this little boy who wants to build a go-kart, right? And he's brilliant. He's very passionate about it. So he works with his grandpa because he doesn't have money to build the go-kart. He doesn't know what he's doing. So he builds with his grandpa and his dad and eventually his brothers. And he starts competing and he gets really good. But eventually he gets to this stage where he has no more use for the go-kart, right? You can only compete in go-kart races for so long. And so he starts going into minor racing leagues, right? The step up from go-karts, but not NASCAR. And remember, he's an engineer. He builds these cars himself. And it's because where a lot of people have resources where they can just buy the go-kart, he had to build it. He had to learn inside out how it all works before he could put it together. And so he did this with a faster car and then a faster car and a faster car until he got up to NASCAR. And he still builds his own car. And I understand the engineers who build the cars don't race them. This is an analogy. And he gets to NASCAR and he's competing and he's placing, right? Top 15, but he's not winning. Or at least he doesn't feel like he's winning, right? He's made it to NASCAR. From anybody else's eyes, he's won. He's made it to NASCAR. He gets paid to race and speed. Who wouldn't love that? But in his eyes, he sees 15. 15. And all that 15 says to him is that there's 14 people in front of him. Right? So it doesn't matter what other people see. It matters what he sees. Because your perceived reality is more important or as important as reality itself. Decisions are driven by emotion. And therefore how you interpret and see things dictates your entire life. He gets to NASCAR and they tell him, this car is all wrong. It's wrong. You did it wrong. And he's like, what do you mean? I've been building it the same way. The same way since I was a little kid when my grandpa showed me. And I'm placing. I'm getting 15th. I'm not coming in last. What do you mean it's wrong? And they tell him it's wrong. Everything about this car is wrong. except the engineer itself. Okay? That's what I'm going through, right? This deficiency motivation is what's driven me and built everything that I've had, that I've worked for. But now I'm coming to the realization that it's all wrong. It's gotten me to where I am today, but it's a path for destruction. And that same engineer has two choices. He can die by the fire, right? He can race that car until it explodes and takes his life. Or, out of an act of faith, everything we do, right? Every step you take, I heard this, this is not credit to me. Every step you take on a floor is an act of faith, because you don't know whether that floor is going to collapse from underneath you or whether the ceiling's going to cave underneath you. Everything you do in your life is an act of faith. He could take that act of faith and start from scratch. That's where I am. I'm not starting from scratch as far as what I have, but I'm starting from scratch as far as what I feel like I have. If that makes sense. That was a really bad tie-in. I apologize. But this is where I'm going to end the video, right? A lot of my videos talk about exercise, talk about introspection as far as what I've figured out. This I haven't figured out. I'm going to link a video at the end of this, and I'm going to play a little snippet of it. I want you to go down to the description, and I'll comment it down below in the comment section. I want you to watch it, listen to it, think about it, and then come back to me and post your comments in this video. Because that's what's really gave me the insight for this video and the real reason why I'm making this video. And a lot of these videos, like I said, they're presentation oriented. Here's what I have to say, listen to me. Well, guess what? I'm human too, and I don't have it all figured out, not by any means. And although I enjoy presentation videos, when I'm talking about things I know about, I want conversation too, right? So let's not make this a presentation. Let's make this a conversation. It's a two-way street. This is what I think. This is what I feel. I just poured it out all on the table. Let me know what you think about it. There's probably going to be 100 of you that watch this video right now. Probably 10 of you will watch to this part of the video. Besides the point, I want you to comment down below. How do you feel? What do you think? I want to get to know you. Thank you everybody for watching. I'll come out with more videos in the future. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. And I will see all you in the next video. Peace.
See, the two ways to motivate yourself are deficiency motivation, which says where I am I don't like. I don't like what I've done. I don't like the fact that I can't do this well or I can't do that well. So I will list these things in my own repertoire, and then I will be constantly trying to repair those deficiencies, always assuming that I'm deficient, that there's something wrong with me, and I'm trying to fix it. And when you do that, you spend your whole life doing that. And you never arrive, because your life becomes a series of trying to get someplace else.